decided to stream the review. I realized it's going to take quite a while to, uh, you know, do all of the reviews and just have a consistent, So I'm going to just showcase all the cards, and just how they feel in the context of Arena. I'm not really doing any of the constructed talks, just basically Arena, how I think they're going to be. Keep in mind, I am a control player, so some of my ideas might be skewed toward a control mentality. And we'll just be going through all the classes. We were doing a 1 through 5 rating, 1 being really good, 5 being almost unplayable. Most things won't be either. Whoops, let me fix that real quick. But there is a lot to go through, a lot to talk about, so just keep that in mind as we get started. Hello, Mark. Hope you're doing well. So let's just get started here, see what we can do. So first card is the Biology Project. Each player gains 2 mana crystals. I don't really think this card's going to have much of an impact in Arena, just because both of the players get the effect, right? Since both of the players get the effect, you're not really getting any value out of it. You just ramp harder, so you'd have to kind of draft a very heavy curved, high removal, high power level card to kind of make this effective. But the issue is that if you draw this in the late game as well, it essentially becomes useless, where it's not like Wild Growth where you get a card back if you draw it late. If you draw it late, it's basically a dead card, and I just feel like the drawback and the power level itself is not too much of a justification to make this card good. I'm not going to say it's unplayable, but you're going to have a lot of trouble getting quite a good effect from this card. So I'm going to say it might even hit unplayable. I'm going to say it's 4.5, between quite bad and unplayable, just because the benefit isn't that good since both players get it, and the fact that you draw it later in the game, it's completely a dead card, so not a great effect. Another thing I'll be doing is I'll try to put the scores early on in my discussion, maybe put the score first and then try to justify it, so that if you're just skimming through the video or something, you'll be able to see the scores for every card a lot clearer. I'm also not going to be responding too much to the comments right now, just because I want this to be clean and concise. If I respond to everything, this is going to take forever. So just keep in mind, I'm practically going to be ignoring most of you guys in a lot of situations. So yeah, just throwing it out there. Alright, next card we have Landscaping. So it's a 3-mana summon 2/2 Trance. There's a decent amount of Trance synergy in the expansion. But on a base stat line, you're not really going to be getting a full Trent deck in Arena. On the stat line, it's a 3-mana 2/2, which isn't horrible, not unplayable. It does die to 2/3s and 3/3s, but another benefit, it can kill 4/4 stat lines. So I think this card's probably going to be a bit average, maybe better than average if you can pick up some more Trent synergy, but that's not going to be consistent in Arena. But I think this card is going to be pickable. You're not going to hate on a card like this. Just it's a 3-drop, but there are a lot of 3-drops, so it can be replaceable, but it's not a horrible card to play. So that's my thoughts on that card. Next card we have Glob Sprayer. So I'm gonna put it's an interesting card. A lot of these cards I've looked at maybe once or twice, not really kind of made my own decision on how good or bad it is. I'm kind of figuring out how I would use this, how I would play this. I think this card is probably going to be pretty good in Arena, just because it lets you get a very wide board, and if you can hit like one good minion and a random minion, it's probably going to be good. Like imagine you hit a Yeti and maybe a 1/1, right? So you play this card, it's a 4-mana 4/4, summon a Yeti, summon a 1/1, something like that, and that's like That's like an average roll if you're ever gonna play this card, right? If you're gonna play this card, you can hit a 7 drop, right? You can hit an 8 drop, um, and the fact that you can just create copies of powerful minions is probably going to give this card some play. Only issue with this card is that it's hard to kind of get the most powerful effect. And I think once people figure out, oh, I can't let them have a copy of a big minion in Druid because they can probably make copies of it, it's gonna get harder to play effectively. But I think earlier on, and if you play right, you can probably get a lot of good value from this card. So I'm gonna give it a great stat line. It's gonna be harder to play, but the payoff could be really, really good. Next card we have a Dendrologist. I'm gonna give this card just an initial review, probably a little bit better than average, right? It's a 2 mana 2/3, which is obviously playable. There's a lot of 2 mana 2/3s. We've seen them in the game forever, and they do what they're supposed to, right? They're a 2-drop that's tanky enough to survive some AoEs, but they can contest the board early enough. Once you hit like turn 4, right, those 2/3s don't really trade 1 for 1. They start trading 2 for 1, and you maybe even 3 for 1 against some particular tanky minions, but they're okay minions on their own, right? So if you just look at it as a 2 mana 2/3, it's average, I would say. But since it has an effect, if you get a trench, you can discover a spell. That's really swingy, right? Being able to discover some powerful Druid spells. There's UI, there's Swipe, there's Starfall, there's Starfire, Spreading Plague. Lots of good spells to discover. Power of the Wild, even if low cost. So there's a lot of good spells in Druid. If you can trigger this, then there's going to be a lot of value for this card. So I think it's a pretty good card. It's got a lot of upside if you can trigger it, but basically it's just a 2 mana 2/3 stat line. Potentially can be better, but usually will just be a basic card. Next card we've got Mulch Muncher. 10 mana 8/8. However, with Rush, it can cost less if there are friendly treants that died. So you can kind of see the synergy with the treants. There's another synergy card, and there's landscaping, right? So if you're looking to pick up some of these in Arena, you can kind of see how this can get better. So imagine, I think this card's going to be probably great. So my reasoning for that this is going to be a good card is worst case scenario. I'm thinking of this card similar to a Charged Devilsaur, right? Charged Devilsaur is an 8 mana 7/7 in Rush, essentially. I mean, it has upside in other ways, but if you base it down, it's 8 mana 7/7 with Rush, and I really value that card. I think that card's really good. But so this card is an 8/8. Benefits of being an 8/8 is it can take down 8 attack minions, right? There's a lot of 8 attack minions or 8 health minions, like Stormwatcher, things like that. And imagine you kill 1 trench, right? You somehow get 1 trench in your deck, and that's what you kill off. A 9 mana 8/8 is not horrible with Rush, not that bad, right? And the more trench you can stuff into the deck with this card, the better it is. If you're hitting like this costing 7, this costing 8, it's essentially a better Charged Devilsaur. So the upside of this card is actually really high, and the downside isn't the worst thing imaginable. Imagine they play like a Lich King, right? And you spend all your mana to kill the Lich King off. That's not bad. That's not the end of the world, right? It's all your mana, right? You don't get the hero power essentially, right? But imagine you have a Charged Devilsaur, you have this card, right? Charged Devilsaur can also kill Lich King with hero power, right? But you're taking 7 damage. Here you don't take that 7. So, and that's the worst case scenario when it costs a full 10. So I think this card's actually going to be pretty playable in Arena, even though it costs all your mana. It can be discounted, and there are some use case for it. So I don't hate this card. I will be trying it out, seeing how it feels. If it feels worse, then we'll learn from that. But it feels okay. It feels playable. It doesn't feel like a bad card initially. Next card we have Tending Tauren. a 6-mana 3/4 that can give your minions +1/+1 or summon 2 Trents. I think in most cases you're going to be summoning those 2 Trents, just because it's very hard to get in a situation where your whole turn is just buffing your rest of the minions. Usually you do something like play a ton of minions in Power of the Wild on the same turn or something like that. Here it's going to be hard to have a gigantic board. You're already winning at that point and then buffing, but it can happen, right? So flexibility is always nice in a card, though, just generally makes it better. But if you look at the summon 2/2 Trent, so it's a 6-mana 2/2 3/4 2/2, right? It's kind of, you can look at it like it's a double gangster, right? It summons 2/2s, right? But instead of having a 2/2 buddy, you have a 3/4 buddy, and it costs 1 more, so you're spending an extra mana for a +1/+2 effect. I think that's pretty good. Honestly, that's not a bad card. Like, this seems like a playable card that you're not gonna hate. It's gonna probably be annoying for people to deal with. It's like, okay, you play this and then you're like, ha, you know, deal with everything. They deal with it, but you need 3 minions on the board to deal with everything, or you need to have some kind of AoE board clear. So I think this is a card that's gonna trigger AoE, right? Like, you play it and people are gonna use their AoE, and then you can kind of reload, right, with the other cards in your hand. So seems like a pretty decent card. It's gonna have a lot of synergistic cards. Trench, it also summons Trench, so there's a lot of power in this card that I think people are not really looking at. I'm actually gonna give it a not amazing. It's not like game changing, but it's pretty solid. It's got consistency, and it's got swing potential, and it's got synergy with other cards in the expansion. Seems like a very decent card to pick up when you can. So we're just gonna have to see where it's placed in the buckets, right? Basically, all of these are like, what buckets are they going to be placed in, right? That's really going to determine their power levels, right? If they're next to UI, you're never going to pick this, right? but if it's next to something, you know, reasonable, maybe Spreading Plague, I could see it. I could definitely see it next to picking this instead of Plague and things like that. So it seems like a pretty decent card. Don't mind it. Juicy Psych Melon. I see there's a lot of people just talking like this is the game changer in the world. And something interesting is that I don't know how this synergizes with the Munch Melon, right? If it's discounted, you probably still picks it up, right? In your decks, right? I know we know the buckets already, but I haven't looked through all of that. I haven't looked through every single card. That's too much calculations, right? Oh, this is going to be this bucket, this, you know. I'm just saying we know the buckets, right? But it still depends where it's next to, I would say. So people are really thinking about this card in constructed, right? There's a lot of power levels for this card in arena. However, it's still going to be pretty good. It's still going to be a cycle in a sense where you kind of draw your late game, right? So it's 4 mana draw your late game in a sense, right? The only thing is you have to be aware that you can draft this card, right? You have to be aware to pick up 7 drops, 8 drops, 9 drops, and 10 drops to get full value out of it. But the thing, it's going to be hard to do that, right? In arena, not a lot of people pick up 7, 8, 9 drops early, or you know, effectively, right? There aren't too many like big boss, oh, I always want this late game card in my deck, but it still will be pretty good if you can draft around it, right? If you get this like very early and then you get a lot of synergies, it's going to be good. But if you don't, it's going to be like a draw 1, draw 2 for 4 mana. That's not the best thing, honestly. It's not. But there is potential for a big upside, but I don't think it's going to be consistent. I think this card's going to be probably average, like not crazy enough. I mean, you're gonna try it out. People are gonna try this out, right? And then they're not gonna get what they hit, right? They're not gonna get like, oh, I get a sea giant, Stormwind champion, a Lich King, and what's a 9 cost? The 9 mana new mech, right? That's not gonna happen all the time. That's really not, you know, you're not gonna get all 4 cards every single time. And anytime you draw like your 1 copy of a 7 drop, right, that's gonna be very common, right? And it's gonna make this card feel a lot worse. So I really feel like there's upside to it, but it's not going to be consistent upside, and because cards are not consistent, that's lowers their power levels for me in a big way. So I think it's just going to be average, maybe better if you can make it work, but not super, you know, meta defining for arena. You know, other other modes might not agree, but but you know, in arena it doesn't look super good. Here we've got a 7 mana 4/4 that reduces the cost of a minion in your hand by 7. So this card's gonna be annoying, I can imagine, if you run a lot of big stuff, right? So you play this on 7, you get a 4/4, but then imagine you get like a 0 mana card. Basically whatever you're playing is gonna be 0 mana or like 2 mana, like basically free. And you're detumbling yourself on this turn to kind of swing the game on the next turn. It seems okay. It seems okay, right? Like it's gonna. The only issue with it is that it can hit bad minions, right? It can hit 2 drops, it can hit 3 drops, it can hit 4 drops, right? 0 mana 4 drops not horrible, but it's not swingy enough, right? Like it depends on the card, but it's not going to, you know, be crazy. However, what it can do, right, is it can let you make a gigantic buff turn, right? So you play this, right, you get a 4/4 to kill your 4/4, whatever, right? Next turn you get to play two gigantic boards, like a gigantic board, and then play your buffs as well, since it doesn't since the minion you play didn't cost as much. You can combo this with the trench guy, right? Like it hits this, right? So you summon this for 0, right? And then you play another minion, and then you play another minion, and then you power the wild, and then boom, you've got a gigantic board, right? So that's really gonna be like, I would say, one of the best case use scenarios for this card. Other than that, if you hit a big minion, a big taunt, that's also pretty powerful. But a lot of times you're not going to be hitting anything that you're like, oh, this is fantastic. You might hit a 2-drop. A lot of times you'll play your 2-drop before this, right? So it can only hit good stuff. So I think it's a pretty good card. You just have to use it properly. It doesn't look super bad. The legendary, people are also talking about this card, saying, hey, it's gonna be crazy. I don't know how good or bad this card's hard to judge, right, in arena, right? Because it basically depends what your deck looks like, right? If you have a very powerful deck, right, then this card gets even stronger. If you have a very lackluster deck, this card gets, you know, it's basically a mirror of your deck, right? If you're looking at a gigantic powerful deck, then this card's going to be powerful as well. If you're looking at like a deck with just average cards, then this card's going to be average. But we can kind of see if there are any class cards that can kind of utilize this. It's going to be really good with the Tauren. It's going to be pretty good with Hydrologist, a free card. It's going to be pretty good with Globe Sprayer. Right, so there's a lot of decent, even in the class cards here, there's a lot of decent cards. I think it's gonna be playable. Right, I don't know if I'd pick this over like a Lich King or something like that, but it does seem like it will have a solid effect. I'm not really hating on this card. Seems okay. It's a legendary. You're not gonna see it that often, but if you do see it, it's gonna have a. It's gonna be interesting to play around this, or, you know, when you get hit by your opponent, it's like someone plays Deathwing, and then you're like, all right, I'm good, and then they top deck this card, and they're like, let's go. Oh man, that's gonna be funny. All right, anyways, let's move on. Glorious Gloop. I'm pretty sure you can draft legendary spells, right? Confirm this. I'm pretty sure you can draft legendary spells. But whenever a minion dies this turn, gain 1 mana crystal this turn only. So basically 3 things have to die for it to be an innervate, right? But if more than 3 things die, then it's pretty good, right? But it's kind of, you kind of have to be aware of it. So it's gonna be interesting in the sense that you can't really play around this. How do you play around this card, right? They play living mana, and then you're like, I'm not gonna kill anything, and then they just play their gloop, and then they can now do stuff, right? They now have like 10 mana or something, and well, like 8 mana or something. So you think you're like detempling them, but they actually have this card in their hand, and they're about to drop a Lich King on you. But I mean, it's gonna be hard to play around, but if you have synergy for it, it's gonna be pretty good. Even if you don't have synergy for it, it's gonna be pretty solid, right? Like, it's a 1 mana gain 2 mana crystals, gain 3 mana crystals. That's not bad, right? That seems pretty good. The only issue is that if the opponent doesn't spam the board, or they always clear the board, it's gonna be a little bit harder to play, but it looks okay. Like, it looks like it's easier to make it better than Innervate in a lot of situations. I know it's both friendly and enemy minion, so I'm aware of that. I think it's gonna be pretty playable. So I don't mind the card. Alright, so that's all the Druid cards. They look like they got a fairly powerful expansion. Honestly, their worst card is like a Biology Project in terms of arena. Right? Everything else is playable, right? So it doesn't look too bad in terms of the arena level, power level. So I'll probably give it like maybe like a 2.5. I would say they didn't really. That's a pretty good scoreline. I think 2.5 is like quite high in terms of power level cards. So they didn't get snubbed in terms of arena. Their cards are pretty okay, pretty average, or above average, I would say. So seems like they got had a good expansion for them. So it'd be interesting to see. Next we have Hunter cards. The first card, Bomb Toss. 2 mana, deal 2, summon a 0/2 Goblin Bomb. So a 0/2 Goblin Bomb it's a 0/2 with Death Rattle, deal 2 damage to the hero when it dies. So it has 0 attack, right? So you're gonna have to find an activator for it, but it's still eventually, 2 damage to the opponent if you play a board clear or anything like that. So it's kind of just an annoying card. So it's a 2 mana, deal 2, which isn't horrible, and then it has the 0/2 bombs. So eventually you'll take 2 damage. That's not a bad card. I'm gonna say it's above average. So deal 2 damage, you can kill a 2-drop, right? Like, it's not impossible. And then you have 2 damage coming in. With Hunter, that's pretty. I think Hunter is gonna be able to do more aggressive stuff this expansion, just because of the fact they're getting these bombs. A lot of their cards just give you random bombs and random damage. So you're gonna be able to deal a bit of damage. You can compare it to whatever Flame Guys or whatever, blah 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 blah. Right, it's different being in classes, right? Flame Geyser has a lot of synergy with elementals and things like that, where being able to deal 2 damage, if you're not killing them, that doesn't mean anything, But it does help push that extra damage that you might need. So I think it's gonna be a fair card. Like, you might pick it up. It's not the best, but it has removal effects, which is always nice, and it has dealing damage effects. And this can go face, right? Anything that can go face, I don't do that, but people seem to care about that. So, not a bad card in my opinion. Okay, Secret Plan, discover a secret. So, I'm gonna say this card's gonna be average. Any secret discovering, any discovering mechanics for 1 card. I thought they were going to be quite good in the last expansion. I realized that all of them weren't really that good. All of them were like maybe average to bad. Just the fact that you have to spend that 1 mana is really annoying. in terms of being able to flow on curve. Like, you'd rather play a 1-drop than play this. You'd rather play a 2-drop than play this. You'd rather play a 3-drop than play this in a secret. You'd rather play a 4-drop than play this in a 3-drop, right? Like, it's hard to the power level of secrets are kind of okay. I'm thinking like Freezing Trap and Venom Strike Trap, right? But it's going to be hard to consistently hit those secrets every single time, and then you're going to have these secrets that you're like, okay, I have a secret, the opponent knows I have a secret, you know. So I'm not too big on the 1-mana Discover cards right now. I don't think they're premium, but they're okay. Like, it can trigger things, right? There's Spellstones in Warrior in every class, you know. Seems okay, but not premium for me. I haven't been a big fan of the 1-mana Discovers whatever cards. Venomancer. I think this card is pretty damn good. I'd say it's the first amazing card I've seen. It's a 2-mana 2/2 mech with magnetic and poisonous. So you play it on 2 and it kills everything, right? It's like Gastropod, which I think, you know, thinking now, I think Gastropod's also a 1. I don't know what I gave it. I don't even think I was around for Gastropod, but yeah, it's basically kind of Gastropod level card, and just kind of insane. And it has synergy with a lot of mechs, and it's so strong. So this card is so strong because there's like a lot of like a high health, low attack minions. You play this on it, and now it kills everything. You've just made like a 6-drop or a 5-drop with this card. It's not something to look at lightly. This card just looks pretty damn disgusting, I would say. If you see this and it's not next to like a high main or something like that, you know, go for it. Pick this card up. It looks really good. Spider Bomb. So this card is a Deadly Shot, Death Rattle, plus a body, right? Deadly Shot, Death Rattle plus a body. I think this card's pretty good as well, honestly. The only issue is just figuring how to use it correctly, but it's got a lot of upside to it. And I saw the bucket for this. This not in a super high bucket, so you might be able to pick a couple of these up. So it has the magnetic effect, right? So once again, you can buff up a minion if you want to do that, but destroying a random enemy minion is pretty powerful if you are able to control the board with Hunter. Just being able to, you know, kill off something and then kill off another thing for 2-3 mana seems like a pretty good card. It's not instant, so like Deadly Shot is, right? Being instant is a good upside. However, not being instant can be an upside as well, depending on how you like to use cards. So I wouldn't say that it not being instant is a pure downside. So it seems like a pretty playable card, right? You can drop it on 3, right, and it'll kill the 3-drop that they play as well. So it seems good. Like, I don't hate the card at all. Cybernetic Chip. Give your minions, add a random mech to your hand. So I assume these mechs are from any class, right? Just a random mech. Seems okay. So this card reminds me of what's it called? The Shaman 3-mana spell that returns the same card to your hand. It's not as good as that one because you know your synergy with the return card. You can combo. This is just random mix. Alright, so it's kind of random effect. Random effect means not as consistent, which makes it a little bit worse, but it's a 2-mana card, and there's a lot of cards that give you random 1/1s with rush. Right? You can and this is easy to like tack onto anything. I think this card's gonna be better than average, I would say. I don't know if it's gonna be great though. Yeah, it's gonna be better than average, but the inconsistency, but it's still a good reload card. It's somewhere between 2 and 2.5 for me. Just being able to because just being able to kind of refill your hand once you're out of cards, and there's a lot of cards that summon a lot of like small stuff. I'm thinking of there's like 2 cards that summon multiple bodies, and then there's also another card that summons lots of 1/1s with rush. So you can kind of like play this and then play a wide turn and then play this card, and it's only 2 mana. So imagine it's a 2 mana draw 2 or a 2 mana draw 3, which is pretty good. It's just you just have to make your deck usable, so it doesn't seem like a bad card. I think it's playable. You'll probably be seeing it. And mech cards aren't super horrible, I would say. Yeah, 2.36. That sounds like a good good scoreline. Fireworks technicians, give a friendly mech +1/+1 if it has death rattle, trigger it. All right, so this is probably going to be triggering goblin bombs in a lot of cases, and then it's gonna, like, I would say, yeah, it's probably gonna be triggering goblin bombs in a lot of cases. It can trigger the spider bomb and bomb toss cards. It's gonna be like a 2 mana deal to your enemy hero with some upside, right? It seems hard to play, to be honest. It's gonna be kind of a hard to play card. It doesn't seem super good. Is there any, let me look in there, is there any like crazy death rattle mechs here? It's probably gonna trigger, I don't know. It's probably, there's probably like a neutral minion that I'm not thinking about, right? That has insane synergy with it. But seems okay. I wouldn't say it's good. I think I might give this a 3.5. It seems hard to play. That's the issue. It's a 2 mana. Like a lot of times, I bet it's gonna be dropped onto with no trigger, right? That's the issue, right? And if you need to play something to gain the board, right, you're still gonna play this card, and it's gonna be a 2 mana 2/1. It just seems like it's gonna be hard to get to consistent, and that's kind of an issue. I don't really like the card too much. Your death rattle is triggered twice. So it's a 5 mana 3/6. That's not horrible stat lines. It's basically, it's a 4-drop with that effect. And it's all death rattles. It's not even mech death rattles, right? Like I'm thinking high main, but everyone's thinking high main, right? I'm gonna give it a 2.5. I think it's gonna be okay if you can trigger it. The problem is it's a 4-drop baseline stats. It's a 4-drop, so you're spending a 1 mana extra mana for a 4-drop. If you play this on curve with nothing else, you're detemplating yourself. But there is a lot of upside with a lot of good cards. Since it's all death rattles, there's a lot of powerful effects. You know, high mains. There's legendaries with powerful death rattles. There's a lot of playable death rattles. There's a lot of draw death rattles. So, you know, if you can get any synergy, like one synergy card, one death rattle to trigger, it's probably really good. However, if you don't get any death rattles to trigger, it's not crazy. Alright, it's below average, but the upside is very high, so it's gonna bump it to playable, right? Like something to pick up if you have synergy for it. If you don't, then, you know, shame on you. Goblin Prank, give a friendly minion +3/+3, and rush it dies at the end of the turn. So you're gonna so you can look at it like deal 3, 2 mana deal 3, but it's not as good as that, because you need synergy as well. You need minions on the board. You can't just, and it can go through taunts. Okay, I'm gonna give it average. It also dies. Yeah. It's a situational 2 mana deal 3. So 2 mana deal 3 is great. It's fantastic. However, it's situational, so it's lower. And you kill your minion, so you can't even, like, it has to be on a low value minion that you don't care about, like something from Grim Necromancer. You make a 4/4, you kill a 4 attack minion or a 3 attack minion, whatever, and it dies. Seems okay, right? Oh, you can buff up the goblin bombs. You'll be hitting. Okay, I see. I'm not reading. I'm not reading. Like, I'm just thinking. Oh, you can hit the goblin bombs as well. So there'll be a 2 mana deal 3. Yeah. So that's what this is gonna be used on, right? Something like goblin bomb, something like grim necromancer 1/1s to deal 3, deal 4. Seems okay. Yeah. Imagine. Yeah. Imagine that you're. Why is it +3/+3? Why isn't it just give a friendly minion 3 attack? I don't know. I don't know. But oh, I guess maybe they don't want to trigger the death rattle immediately, right? They want the death rattle to trigger at the end of your turn, right? They don't want you to be able to trigger the death rattle and then use the death rattle effect immediately. They want the death rattle triggered at the end of your turn so that you don't abuse this card in a sense. I can understand the +3/+3. Okay, seems okay. It's gonna be situational. I still like the 3 scoreline. So Boommaster Flark, Battlecry summon 4/02 Goblin Bombs. So it's a 5/5 for 7 that fills your board with cards you can't use. I mean, you know, that is what it does though. So it's a 5/5 that deals 8 eventually, at some point. Seems like I'd rather have a Lich King. Honestly, I'm not too super impressed by this. You'd have to make a really aggressive deck, and then you also have to have like ways to trigger these 0/2 goblin bombs. Right, 1 goblin bomb, sure, you can trigger it. Right, you can trigger it with the goblin prank. You can trigger it with the fireworks tech. Right, 4 goblin bombs. I don't really know how you're triggering it. You're probably gonna have to use your magnetic effects, right, to trigger it. Right, it's gonna be a slow kill, right? But it doesn't seem like crazy. It doesn't seem horrible though. I'll give it an average scoreline. I'm not super impressed by it, but maybe people will find a way to make this thing obnoxious in Arena. Right? They get it first pick and then they go for it and they just draft a bunch of magnetic cards. I can see it, right? But I think the fact that you have to draft around it makes it worse, right? Like you don't really have to draft around the Lich King. You play a Lich King and you're like, all right, I got a Doom Pact. I see you have a board full of minions. Haha, it's all gone, you know, and now you lose. Where you kind of have to draft around this card, so it's not unplayable, but the power level isn't like the stat line in Arena. A 5/5 dice to everything, and the bombs don't do anything by themselves, so seems whatever. Summon 3 minions from your deck. They attack enemy minions and die. In Arena, this isn't gonna be that great. So it's gonna be like an 8 mana deal 10, maybe something like that, right? 8 mana deal 10, and then trigger death rattles, right? So it seems it's also a legendary spell. Doesn't seem that great. I gotta be honest. I'm not seeing where I'm like this is broken. You know, I don't see it. I think that there's gonna be some situations where people play this and then they hit like their biggest minions, they hit their high mains, right? And they're like, "Ha, my death rattle's trigger." But a lot of cases you're gonna play this and then you're gonna get like 2/2 drops and like a 4 drop, and then you're gonna be like, "Damn, that sucks." But yeah, I'm not super impressed by this. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I don't think it's unplayable. I don't think it's quite bad because you can high roll. Right, anything with high roll potential isn't that bad because you can win a game off you hitting like triple high main. Can you imagine? And then you oh my god, that sounds disgusting. You already have a good deck though if that's what you're hitting. And yeah, I'm not anything with high roll potential I'm not gonna kill off, but it doesn't look super good to me. And then these are the bombs. So it's a 1 mana 0/2 in case you bounce it to your hand, and just death rattle deal 2 to a hero power to the enemy hero. So they're just like mechs that you can mechanize, like you can magnetize, but they don't do anything on their own. So not not super good. I don't know if I'd play this. Like don't think I'd pick this like as its own card, just a 1-mana 0/2, unless I have a ton of magnetic synergy. So I don't think that the hunters got like a super power card. Like their best card is the Venomize, which is really good, and then their Spider Bomb is also pretty good. But other than that, their cards are like maybe average level, maybe a little bit better than average level, but not super good. I would say all in all, they kind of got like a average expansion. It's what makes it average is that their good cards are commons, right? Like this is a common and this is a rare, so it's not, you know. And then this common card is also not that bad. And then Secret Plan is whatever, but it's not crazy bad. So since that they're commons, you won't be seeing them. They're not gonna be impossible to get in your deck one or two copies per run. So it seems okay. All right, mage cards. So we've got Cosmic Anomaly. So it's just a 4-mana 4/3 with spell damage +2. Before this expansion, if you gave me this card, I'd be like, it looks bad. If you know, but if you look at the cards that they're getting next to it, Shooting Star and others, they have a decent amount of cards that can kind of utilize it. And you know, Arcane, Explosion, things like that. Blizzard, right? You see so many goddamn blizzards. Can you imagine this plus Blizzard? It's a Flame Strike that freezes, right? You're gonna see that. So I think it's kind of going to be an obnoxious card in good decks, right? People are going to just draft AoE and AoE and AoE and just like play this card and Blizzard you, and you're going to be like, that's not really fair. And then everyone's going to be like, yep, it's not fair, but I'm a mage. And then you're just going to be like, yeah, you are a mage, you degenerates. But it's fine. I think this card is probably going to be a little bit better than average. Just the fact that you can't really play it on 4, as most 3-drops will kill that thing. But I mean, you can play it on 4, but it's gonna die easier than a Yeti. However, so on a curve, it's not going to be good. But if you have synergy for this card, it is looking pretty nice. So it's not a bad card, I would say. You just have to make sure that you have enough early game that you can get to the AoE turns, or you have enough like stall that you can just stall, like freeze their board multiple times and then blow it up or something like that. So it seems like a playable card. Just be careful, you know, that you are picking this with synergy, right? If you have this in a Yeti, or a Yeti quality card, you know, you might need the Yeti quality card because your spell damage is not going to... You can't do anything with spell damage if you're dead, you know. Same thing, you know. So, Shooting Star, this card looks pretty good. It's kind of like an Arcane Explosion for 1, right? Because I mean, if you're hitting 3-4 cards with Arcane Explosion, you're like, damn, that's already good. But for 1 mana, you're basically getting like an Arcane Explosion, and it's also very easy to use with spell damage, right? There's a lot of spell damage cards for 1, so you can hit this with this and deal 3 damage to cards. It looks really good, actually. Yeah, it does look really good. I don't know what to give it. It's probably nearing 1, maybe 1.5. It's not like insane, right? If you have no synergy, it's just a small board clear. But if you have any spell damage at all, like 1 mana deal 2 to 3 minions, that's disgusting. You know, with your ping, the flexibility of your ping, it looks really good, honestly. I think this card is going to be a very annoying in arena. Just yeah, it does look very annoying in arena. So yeah. Research project, each player draws 2 cards. I'm not a big fan of the projects, right? Like you're spending mana to give both players effects, so you know, yeah, you're spending mana to give both players. I'm not a fan of, like, this is like, as a control player, this is this is what I never do, right? I would. It's a Kodalite Oracle basically without the body for one less. Um, and Kodalite Oracle wasn't super good in Arena, right? You play the Kodalite Oracle and both players get a card. And so it's basically in Kodalite Oracle range. I would say I'm not a fan of it. I'm gonna give it a 4. The only thing it's good if your opponent already has a ton of cards, you can make them mill 2 cards or 1 card or something. But I mean, at that point, how are you winning, right? You're spending 2 mana to make them mill a card instead of getting the board. I mean, I don't know. If yeah, I'm not a fan of any of the projects giving both players value, and you have to spend mana to give both players value. I don't see like, that doesn't entice me in my opinion. Solar Celestial Emissary, a 2 mana 2/1 that gives your next spell this turn spell damage +2. This card's easier to play. What's it called? Cosmic Anomaly. It's easier to play Cosmic Anomaly. This card looks pretty damn good. A 2, it's an elemental. I think a lot of the cards are elementals, right? Yeah. It's an elemental, plus it's got it's a 2 mana 2/1, which isn't like the worst stats. It's not great stats, but if you can hit it with any spell damage card, right? You hit it with a Blizzard, you hit it with a Flame Strike, you hit it with a Shooting Star or anything like that, it's done its job. So this card looks pretty good. The only issue is that if you don't have any spells in your deck, right? I've gone through a lot of Mage drafts, and a lot of them don't draft. I don't draft spells, but that's just me, and that's because these cards don't exist, right? It's been easy to draft because of the high number of blizzards and stuff like that you see. According to the changes, there's gonna be less rares and things like that, so you might not see as many blizzards as you used to. But if you are seeing like a similar number of blizzards offered per run, you can definitely like do a lot of work and just flame strike people out of nowhere. So this does seems pretty good. I'm gonna give it a 1.5 as well. Just seems like a good card. Someone's asking, are you hoping to keep or toss? I would toss it. I think you want in the late game, where you have 8-9 mana and you can kind of make use of it. Because in the early game you're not really looking to flame strike a board in the early game. In the late game you might be looking to flame strike a board. Like they overextend a little bit and then you blizzard them and then it's over. So seems like something you throw away unless you have elemental synergy and you really need that card. Meteorologist, for each card in your hand, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. So it seems like it seems like it's gonna deal 4. I would say, like in standard card, like you play 1 card per turn, it's gonna deal 4 or 5, right? So I'm low rolling it. It's gonna deal 4. So it's a 6 mana 3/3 deal 4 in a lot of arena cases. Maybe deal 5, maybe deal 6, but it's like a 6 mana 3/3 arcane missiles, or 6 mana 3/3 2 arcane missiles, or the 3 mana, 3 mana deal 5 card. And the 3 mana deal 5 card isn't that good, and it's a 6 mana 3/3. I'm not too impressed by this card. Sometimes you're gonna high roll and kill whatever you need to, but a lot of times you're not. And if you top deck this card sucks. Right? Because it's gonna deal 1 or 0. So I'm not a fan of this card. I don't think it's gonna be that good. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I don't think it's I might even give it a 4. But I mean on curve it's gonna deal 5 or something, or through 4 or 5. Yeah, I'll give it a 3.5. I don't think it's gonna be good though. I'm not impressed by the card. It just seems that you are going to play it, and if it doesn't hit what you're looking to hit, you're like, well, I lose. It didn't kill their 3/3 or something, right? So now their 3/1 is gonna kill this card for free. Yeah, and I don't like the sound of that. It's inconsistent and it makes it worse for me, so I'm not a fan. Add 2 random minions to your hand. So it's a 2 mana draw 2, and it's all minions. So you can definitely high roll this. So 2 mana draw 2. It's not horrible, right? I mean, the only problem is it's inconsistent. I'm gonna give it an average scoreline. So Arcane Intellect is a 3-mana draw 2. I'd say that card is average to the average as well, right? The fact that it's random it lowers its consistency, but you know you can always high roll. So I'm just gonna give it an average scoreline. Not super impressed, to be honest, but it's playable. Like, you might pick it a couple of them. Unexpected results. So this is the card you really want to combo with the spell damage plus 2 cards, right? 4 mana, summon 2/2 cost minions. That's not bad. Like, in Arena, that's not bad. 4 mana, summon 2/2 drops. That's 2/2 drops. The only problem is it's random, right? But there are some high rolls. And then if you combo it this with like any spell damage, so imagine the 2-cost card. So you play the 2-cost guy, and then you play this. So for 6 mana, you're summoning 2 4-drops and a 2-drop, and well, I would say a 1-drop. So 1-drop and 2 4-drops. That's pretty good for 6 mana. And then imagine you have the 4-mana card, right? So for 8 mana, you're summoning I would say a 3-drop, a 4-drop, and a 4-drop, right? That's for 8 mana. That's pretty good. So I would say this card is pretty damn good, because even in the worst case scenario, you're summoning 2 2-drops, which isn't that bad, and there's a decent amount of 2-drops. There's like a 4/3 for 2. There's also like a 2/1 as well, and things like that. But it seems not bad. I would say this card's pretty good. It's definitely a 1 or a 1.5. Just because it's so easy to use. Like, you just need to have a spell damage. Like, imagine, okay, so you have the 2 mana 1/1, right? That makes spell damage plus 1, and then you improve it to 3 mana. So it's a 4 mana summon 2 3-drops. That's pretty good. Like, that's gonna swing the game right there. Like, this card seems pretty good. I mean, you have to be able to like draft around it, right? But you can definitely do some busted stuff. Imagine how melee goes. you're not gonna do that, but that would be funny. 7 2 7-drops. And imagine like you have multiple copies of this card, right? So you play the 4-mana card, and then you play 2 of these, right? And then next turn you play like 2 copies of these or something like that, and you summon 4 4-drops, you know, for your. That's pretty good. Like, it seems like the kind of card that stacks with itself, right? Like, if you have multiple copies, you can kind of summon 2 7-mana 1/1s. So it seems like a pretty good card. I think I will leave it as 1. Seems fair. Seems like a powerful minion, powerful spell. So we got Astromancer. Summon a random minion with a cost equal to the number of cards in your hand. This is gonna be hard to use in Arena. I would say by turn 7, you're either gonna have like 4 or 5. You're either gonna have 1 card in your hand, or you're gonna have like 4 or 5 cards in your hand, or you're gonna not play anything and you're gonna coin out. It's like I see this. The highest thing is like it's gonna summon a 5-drop, right? So it's gonna be a 7-mana 5/5 summon a 5-drop. That's not bad, right? The problem is if you're top decking this card. I'm gonna quickly give it a. There's a lot of 5-cost swingers though. Like, so 7 mana summon 2 5 cards. It seems good, like, but the fact that the issue is the top deck potential, right? If you're top decking this card, you're not super happy that you're summoning a 5/5 and a 1/1. But I think this card is pretty good, somewhere between 2 and 2.5 for me. I think the high roll potential is good. But if you are doing nothing for 7 turns and you're summoning like a 7-drop with this thing, that means you have 8 cards in your hand. That means you're dead. You're not gonna live. You're not gonna live during that. It's the upside for holding cards with this is not too high. So you're still gonna play your cards out, and at best you're gonna summon like a 5 or a 4 cost card, and a 5 cost card is really good. A 4 cost card can be really good as well. So there's also there's low roll potentials, but there's also high roll potentials if you hit the 312, and there's also a pretty good neutral minions that you can hit from this expansion. So it seems okay. It seems playable. Like I'll definitely try this card out for a couple of runs and then see how it feels. Stargaze Luna. After you play the rightmost card in your hand, draw a card. So it's a 3-mana 2/4 base stats, which isn't that good, but not. I mean, there are other cards that have that stat line, and it's not the end of the world. Like, you're not gonna instantly lose the game for playing this on 3, but this is basically a late game card that you just dun 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 dun. Did you guys watch that reveal video? Oh my god, it was quite good. It seems fair, right? You're gonna play. By fair, I mean like average-ish, not like a fair balanced card. There's not a lot of those. But you play this, and then you play like a 3-drop and a 1-drop, and then like another 3-drop or something, right? So it can let you cycle through your deck if your deck is low cost, low curved enough to run this. It seems okay as a reload mechanic. So I'm not too sad about this card. It seems okay. You don't want to play it on curve, but you can, and I mean, if you need to, and then you can play whatever you want to do. You just have to be aware that you're not going to be able to, like, if your deck is running big game, like if you can't combo this card with like in the same deck as all of these cards, right? These high costing cards like Meteorologist and things like that, and these Astromancers. You're not really gonna combo with that, but you can combo with like a aggressive rush deck in Arena. I mean, mages don't really do that, but you never know. So it doesn't seem bad. Like, the upside is good enough, right? 3-mana draw a card, 2/4. That's a better Gnomish, right? I would take that. Right, so even as a low roll, it's pretty good. It's like a better Gnomish Inventor, even if you just draw 1 card. So I would take it. So it seems pretty good. Like, I might even put it 1.5. You know, but it seems like a good card. Change the cost of minions in your deck to 1. So you can get this off Glyph, right? So you can use, so if you're running like a very heavy deck and you have a ton of glyphs, and you can hit this with Glyph, that you can start getting value back from it. Like, I kind of look at it as like a Devour Mind for the board. Like, you can start playing your Lich Kings for 1. You can start, I mean, you're not gonna have a Lich King in the arena that often, but you can start playing your 9-mana 9/7 Divine Shield mechs for 1, right? So you have to be aware that your deck has to be able to utilize this properly. If you're running a very aggressive deck with lots of low cards, I wouldn't really pick this up. But if you are running a deck that has AoE removal plus draw is going to be very, very good with this card. Plus just the resources to survive or heal or anything like that, you can find use out of it. But this is going to be a specific deck. I'm going to give it the average scoreline because I think it's going to be hard to play in Arena. Like, you're really going to have to figure out the type of deck that's going to work with this. But if you can figure it out, then it's going to be good. But I don't think a lot of Arena players will play this correctly, and I really don't think people are going to play this correctly. And so it's gonna drop down, and it might become into like a lower bracket where it's going to be with random legendaries, where like the legendary it's next to it might not seem powerful enough, and then you just pick this up because for the lulz, right? And then you get a decent deck for it. But it seems hard to use properly in Arena, and that's really the really issue. Do I get a Lich King in every deck? Almost every deck. Not really. No. But you gotta dream for the stars, man. Okay, so those are all the Mage cards. Overall, I think they got an okay set. Some of the cards are really good. Shooting Star being seems like one of the best cards. Shooting Star, and I would say maybe the Unexpected Results. I would say they got a pretty decent deck. What's their worst card? I would say maybe the research project, but I don't like. But you might, maybe meteorologist. Hmm. Yeah. So, but that's not that bad. I would say they got a fairly good, um, fairly good card quality. Not too bad for arena at least. Yeah, yeah. Right, legendary cards, they don't really affect the arena rating because you're never really gonna see them. So these two cards, they're like, even if they're bad, it doesn't matter. Okay, Astro Defense Matrix. So when a minion is attacked, you have a Divine Shield. This seems really good. Like, it really does. I don't know. This card seems good. Like, it protects the card you want to protect. Like, you play a big minion and then you play this card. It just seems good. Like, how do you deal with this? You can't ping it. Like, even if mages like are like, oh, I'll just ping off the. I mean, I hope it doesn't work like. Does it work like that? Will it like? I don't think we can. No, this is like fun. This doesn't really mean anything. It's for fun because it doesn't matter because you have to consider all the other cards in the rotation already. If mages can't ping it off or things like that, then it's pretty good, and you can protect the card you want to protect. That's like so you play like a 5-drop in this. That's pretty powerful, right? Just because it's gonna be very hard. Like, imagine you're a shaman, right? And then you have like one minion, right? And then they play this in the secret, and you're like, oh, it's auto defense matrix, right? So I can't kill the problematic card, I can't kill their whatever. It seems like very annoying, I would say. So this seems like a really good secret, like one of their better secrets, I would say. The only like maybe redemption with like Sunwalker kind of level is like better, but it seems quite good to me. So seems like a really good secret. Glowtron. 1 mana, 1/3 magnetic. If you run mechs, this card's disgusting. I mean, yeah. even if you don't, this card's damn good. Like, yeah. I don't know what to say. This card's also this. If you run mechs, man, this card's gonna be disgusting. Hey, on neck. Cause it's a 1/3 buff, right? If you look at it just like for mechs, it's a 1/3 buff, right? For one, that's really good. Like, there are a lot of neutral mechs as well, right? That could use a buff like this, and you can put it on itself, right? So you play this turn 1, you play another one, you have a 2/6 turn 2. That's not fair, and it's gonna be pretty good, I would say. You just have to make sure. Maybe I'll lower it to a 1.5. It's a good card though. Like, you're gonna, if you can use this properly, this card's gonna be annoying because you just buff it on a mech and then you're gonna have a very problematic mech. That's gonna be really, really hard to deal with. So it seems fairly strong to me. Mechano Egg. Ah, man. Alright. 5 mana, 0/5, right? The issue with this card is it's never gonna get AoE'd, right? But there are a lot of ways to trigger it. There's a lot of buffs in general in Paladin, and then it's also a mech, so it has all the magnetic buffs too. Right? So it's just gonna be an annoying card because you're like, I'm gonna have to deal with this. Like, if it ever gets buffed, you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to deal with this, right? Where you're like, all right, well, I don't want to kill this. It reminds me of the 2/2, right? The 2/2 that summons an 8/8, right? You never want to kill that thing, right? And then they can steed this thing. Oh my god! Oh no! Oh no! Oh god! Now it's hitting me, guys. Oh my god! Yeah. This is not gonna be a fun card to deal with. Oh god, I'm not a fan of this. I'm gonna say it's a good card because it's very easy to trigger. Yeah, this card's gonna be annoying. I can already see it. Yeah. I can already see this card causing me to concede a lot. Uh, this might bring back a resurgence of like silence again, right? I think silence used to be really good. I think before Witchwood, right? There's a lot of stuff, and after Witchwood, it's still good, but not as prominent. And also the buckets, they're in fairly high buckets, except for the owl. But you might see people just silencing this thing and killing it off immediately, just like I'm not letting you do anything with this card. So you might see some things like that. Hex is gonna be nice against this. If after it's buffed, after it gets defeated, maybe bounce back to your hand. It's gonna be annoying. People are gonna deal with this card somehow. But yeah, seems annoying. Seems annoying. Yeah, just seems annoying. And hey, let's put a Noyo module on this egg. Seems like a fair. So base stats, it's a 4-mana 2/4 with Divine Shield. So you can kind of look at it like a weaker Chain Gang, in a sense, because Divine Shield isn't worth a 2/3 body, right? But it has, if against non-pink classes, it can do something, right? And Divine Shield on a Magnetic card means that you can trade for free, right? So kind of look at it. It's kind of like a Blessing of Kings in terms of. It buffs. You can buff a mech and then give it, and then have a taunt, right? So it's gonna be very annoying if you have mech synergy. Its baseline stats isn't super premium, but it does give taunts, right? So you can play very defensive with this card, and just trade up and then have this annoying taunt card. Like, so you put this thing on the egg. It's like a weird steed, huh? Isn't it? It's like. You put this on the egg and then you're like, yeah. It's more like a Seal. Seal of Champions was pretty good, I would say. But Seal of Champions didn't give taunt. That's the thing, right? Where if Seal of Champions gave taunt, it'd be annoying. It'd be even more annoying. So it seems like a pretty good card, I would say. I would say it's pretty good. If you have mech synergy. If you don't have mech synergy, it's still playable, but it's not like, oh, but if you do have mech synergy, you can use the magnetic effect and you can trade up with it. Seems like an annoying card, so I don't know. I don't know. It's their cards just seem annoying. Christology, draw 2 1-cost minions from your deck. So it's a 2-mana draw 2 early game cards. I don't see. This seems more like a constructor card, right? It only draws 1 mana, right? So it, like, here it'll draw the glow mech, right? Here it'll draw. I think there's another 1 cost, but it's a legendary, right? Yeah. So there's not a lot of like synergy within the expansion. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to. It's not gonna be consistent, I think, in arena. And by the time you're really playing this card, right? And by the time you're using this instead of hero powering, like, drawing 1 attack minions are not really going to do a lot for you. So I'm not too impressed by this, unless, I mean, yeah, I'm not super impressed by this. I think it's gonna be not super great. Yeah, it's inconsistent, and then you're drawing 1 attack minions. I'm not super impressed by this. It's I guess it does draw Stone Hills. All right, I'll raise it up. It draws Stone Hills and it draws Stone Hills. Yeah, that's fair. It does draw Stone Hills. I will give that upside. It does draw Stone Hills. That's fair. But other than that, I'm not super impressed by it. Shrink Ray, set the attack and health of all minions to 1. So it's kind of like an equality that can deal with big stuff. So something you can do is you can, like, Primordial Drake, right? After you can Shrink Ray, then Primordial Drake. You can Shrink Ray, then Consecration. Right? It seems okay. It seems like it's gonna be hard to play since it costs 5 mana. Right? It's not even mana cost, but it's kind of like a pseudo removal, right? I think it's gonna be average. I'm not super sold, but I think it's gonna be fair. Like, just just a fair card. So I think it's gonna be like you might play it, but it's gonna you're still gonna have to deal with the minion, like, and like they're just gonna kill your hero powers and stuff like that. Seems okay, right? If you have synergy with it, it's gonna be better, right? You can always WAD Pyromancer and stuff, but other than that, it's whatever. It's more of a constructed card, it seems to me. Draw a minion and a spell from your deck, swap your cost, so it's a draw 2. 4 mana draw 2, right? It's gonna be hard for this to be consistent. Right? I'm just looking at it as a 4 mana draw 2, right? Maybe play like a, I don't know, a 2 mana Primordial Drake or an 8 mana Noble Sacrifice. Oh man, I don't know. I think this card is gonna be average, right? Because sometimes you'll high roll and you'll get something good, but sometimes it'll just be whatever, or you'll get like 2 cards of the same cost, right? But sometimes you'll high roll, but it's still a 4 mana draw 2, which isn't super good nowadays. There's a 4 mana draw 4, there's a 4 mana draw 3. I don't know if there's a 4 mana draw 3, but there's 4 mana draw 2s, and you know, the inconsistency of the swapping cost effects makes me not value this card super highly. I think you'd rather draw something else, play something else on 4. Glowstone Technician, give all minions in your hand +2/+2. So it's kind of like Emerus without the large body. It's kind of like the hand buff cards. Hand buffs are really good early. I think the earlier you could play the hand buffs and then get the value immediately, that's what really made it good. I think this card is probably going to be a little too slow in Arena. By turn 6, like, people don't care. Like, you're playing a 6 mana 3/4, and then they're going to kill it for free, and then like you better be dropping some big boys, you know, things that they can't deal with, some taunt minions with really good effects to kind of recover. But other than that, and like you're not gonna have that many minions in your hand at that point. Like you might hit like three or 4 cards, and they better be good. Otherwise, like I'm not a fan of this card that much. It seems I played a bit of hand buff, and you had to really like ramp with the card, and this card just doesn't seem like it's going to do a lot after turn 6. Like your hand has to already be good, right? Like if you're hitting like, I guess, Senjent, right? You make a 5/7 Senjent, right? That's not bad, but that's not gonna happen every time you play this card. No, like some games you're gonna get some good stuff, but a lot of games you're not. And the problem with inconsistent cards such as this is that if you want to do well in Arena, right, you can't be like, okay, I'm gonna win this game really hard, and then the next game it's not gonna do as much, right? It has to do a lot every time you play it. Otherwise, you're gonna win 3, you're gonna lose 3 based on how good this card is and that game, right? So because of the fact that it's not gonna be consistent, a lot of games, a lot of matches, I'm not a fan of it. So don't think it's good. Kangor's Endless Army. Resurrect 3 mechs to keep any magnetic upgrades. This seems pretty good. 7 mana, summon 3 cards. Alright, that's a spellstone. That's a pre-spellstone, an upgraded pre-spellstone. Plus, you can keep any magnetic upgrades. So if you get this early in your deck, or you just draft mechs because you like mechs, like you can do some work with this. You can definitely do some work with this. And I assume like magnetic cards aren't going to be in the pool, right? So imagine like you use the Annoyotron on a mech, right? You're not going to get the Annoyotron, or are you going to get the Annoyotron? I don't know, right? If you don't get the Annoyotron, since it's magnetic, then it gets even better, right? But if you do get the Annoyotron as well, like if you can pull the Annoyotron as well, then it might be a little worse, but still really good. I think this card's probably pretty damn good. The only thing is that, you know, you have to have a deck for it, right? You have to run mechs and have it and be able to use the magnetic upgrades. But it seems pretty good, right? Like imagine you play this with the goddamn egg. Oh my god. Oh my god. You play the egg and then next turn you annoy your module, they kill the egg to get the AA, you deal with the AA, then you drop this goddamn endless army, and then you get the egg plus the upgraded magnetic thing again, so you're dealing with a 2-9 that summons an 8-8. You might even pull the 8-8 as well, right? That sounds so annoying. Wow. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how this feels in the game. Oh man, I don't know. This seems scary as hell. I'm worried about this card being so powerful in the right decks. Like you just can't deal with this, right? Like I don't know. This card, this might be a 1. It might be amazingly strong, but yeah. Okay, so Crystal Smith Kangar. It's a 2-mana 1/2 with Divine Shield. That's whatever. Like, and it has lifesteal. It's whatever. It's not a mech, so I mean, if you have Blessing of Kings or something, or Steed, right, you can heal a lot. You can heal a lot, right? You can, but other than that, it's like it's kind of I mean, I think it's better than average, right? But I don't think it's like super crazy. You can make a like a 3/7. A 3/8 divine shield lifesteal. So like if you're dying, you can go back to full. Right? So that's pretty good, like I would say. Right? Yeah, I mean, but it's not gonna win you a game. Like you have to win the game afterwards, but you can recover if you're about to die. So seems like fair. I mean, can you imagine, like, this thing is gonna get stolen in the Priest matchup, right? This is gonna get Shadow Madness quite a bit, I can imagine, yeah. Alright, so what do I think about this? I think this is like the best, this has been the best class so far in terms of card quality. Just cause like some of their cards are really good, like Auto Defense Matrix and Glowtron and the egg, oh my, and those seem like really good. And then the other cards are like whatever. And these legendaries seem pretty good, but that doesn't really matter. It's like maybe their worst card is the tech and the lens, I think. Oh, maybe, yeah. I think this is okay. I don't hate it. I'm gonna give it a rating of 2. Right? I think they've gotten the best cards overall so far. Just cause like I can see these cards being really annoying in arena, like these 4 first cards just being really annoying. Where you're just like, okay, how do I deal with this? How do I deal with this? And it seems annoying. So seems good for them. Okay, Priest cards, Dead Ringer, draw a Death Rattle minion from your deck. I love a card like this. It's a 2-mana card I can play on 2 and not care that I'm playing a 2-drop. I love that. It's like a loot hoarder. I love it. Get a minion. Only thing is it brings you closer to fatigue, but you don't go to fatigue. Most arena players don't play assuming they're going to get to fatigue, so seems good for me. Seems like a decent card. I'd probably pick it up. I think it's great. Not much to say. It's just it's like a loot hoarder with mech synergy. Seems fine. Cloning device. Discover a copy of a minion in your opponent's deck. In arena, it's okay, but it's not good. I don't think it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be like average, right? Like it's inconsistent, but sometimes it's like what's it called? Operative. But operative could hit spells too. Right? You could take their best spell, which is like more swingy, unless you're running Lich Kings, you know. Oh man. But in a lot of situations you're just gonna get like a high cost minion, right? But you're spending 2 mana, right? So you have to tack on 2 mana to whatever you're getting. So imagine you get like a Thresh-Adon, right? So it's like a 9 mana Thresh-Adon, which isn't that good. But I mean, you can always high roll, right? But I don't. It's like a more expensive discover effect, right? Where it might even be worse. It might even be 3.5 because there's a lot of 1 mana discoverer cards, right? This is a 2 mana discoverer card, right? And just because your opponent plays it doesn't mean it's good. So it, yeah, I'm not a fan of this card. I think it's probably going to be one of the weaker cards in the preset. I'm not a fan. I don't think it's good. Yeah, I think it. Yeah, I don't think it's good. In my opinion, I think 3 for 5 is fair. I'm not a fan of it. Topsy Turvy, swap a minion's attack and health. This seems really good and constructed. With some constructed synergies in arena, it's not as good, right? Like you might do some stuff. I can see it hitting sleepy dragons, right? You're gonna, oh god, that's gonna be annoying. Oh. Oh man, and then it's also good with like Lyra. I mean, you might get this off Lyra, right? And you'll just switch something to get a new card. Yeah, I mean, it seems if you're running a very high cost deck, a very high value deck, right? Having a 0 cost card is always nice, right? You can put something to 2 health and then you can flip it and steal it or something like that. You can put something to 3 health and then flip it and steal it, right? So it gives you opportunities to do some wacky stuff that you might not be able to do before. But you know, it's gonna be hard to play, right? That's always the issue with cards like this. They're gonna be hard to play. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's gonna be hard to play. That's the issue with this card. I don't think it's like bad, but I don't think people are gonna have the decks required to use this. That's the issue. Like, yeah, people are not gonna have the decks required to use this. I feel it's probably the biggest drawback of this card. So, you know, I don't think it's horrible, but I don't think people are gonna have the decks that make this card playable in a lot of situations. So, what can you do? Omega Medic. I already know this card is going to be good. I already know, because this is a great card for me. It's the 3 mana 3/4, which I like. I like 3 mana 3/4s. Those are like one of the best stat lines we've seen, and already enough that 3 mana 3/4s are really good in arena. Being able to deal with a lot of power drops, right? The stat line is great, and then if he draws in a late game, it's not useless. I mean, most 3 drops aren't like useless, but gaining 3 health, I mean 10 health, just for no reason. Like, if like, good luck pyroing me now, son. You know, it's not gonna happen. So, if you can make it to turn 10, which as a priest you should be able to do if you're not doing nothing the whole time, and then you'll just recover. Like, you'll just be able to recover from dying. So it seems like and then the stat line, even if it was just a 3 mana 3/4, like, you'd still pick this up. So people are just gonna have this like just randomly in their decks. And sometimes you're gonna try to kill the priest, and then they're gonna be like, "No, you're not killing me. I have squash. Oh wait, no, I have a medic. I will spend 3 mana. I will heal 10, and then you're gonna die." Can you imagine? Like, they played 3 of these. They're at 1 life, and then they play 3 of these. Oh my god. That would be funny, but it won't be super common. But it's a good card for me. I'm a fan of it. So seems good. Extra arms. So the more arms it gives you is a 3 mana card that gives a minion 2/2. It doesn't give an extra. It's not like an infinite effect. So you basically get 2 copies of this card. You get you give a minion +2/+2, and then you get another copy of a card that can give a minion +2/+2. So it's like a 6 mana Blessing of Kings that you can split apart. However, in Priest, that's a different story. So this card, most obviously, it's similar to the Elixir, right? The 3 mana, +2/+2, right? So it's kind of like a lifesteal Elixir without the lifesteal. Um, I think this card is going to be okay. Um, I think it's going to be better than average. Like, I think people aren't valuing this card, but buffing a 1-drop or a 2-drop or something with this card is going to be annoying, because then you're gonna have to deal with the buffed card, and you also know that the problem is, you know that they can buff it again. That's the issue with this card, right? You okay, so they play like a 2 mana 2/3, right? And then you play a 2 mana 2/3, but you're like, and then they buff this card, right? So now they have a 4 mana 3/3, right? Because they kill your guy, or 4 mana, right? You can't play a Yeti. You can't play a Yeti because they can buff it again. You can't really do anything. You have to remove their minion, because if you don't remove their minion, they can just heal this card up forever. And if you play a weak enough minion, they can buff it up out of range. So it's actually gonna be annoying. I think this card is probably better than you think. Well, like, once you see Priest mains using this card, you'll probably be like, yeah, I don't like this. Oh man, it's probably gonna be more annoying than you imagine, because the fact that you know they have more buffs, right? It's not the fact that they buff a, like, they buff the +2/+2. It's the fact that you know they can buff again, and then if you can't deal with their minion, then they'll just heal that minion forever, and you'll just be dealing with like some kind of dumb minion that you're just like, this is a stupid weak minion, but it's buffed up, right? So like, there's a 2 mana 1/5, right? So imagine you play the 2 mana 1/5 on this, then you extra arms it, so it's a 3 mana 3/7, right? And you kill like a 3/3 or something, so it's a 3/4, right? And then you're like, Yeti sucks, because if I play my Yeti, they'll buff it again and then kill it, right? And then you're like, okay, well, I can't do anything else. So you play your Yeti, then they play this, then they heal it, they kill it, right? And then you're like, okay, what do I do, right? So they have like a 5/3 or something, or a 5/2, right? So if you play something else, they'll just trade up and, you know, win, or they'll just heal and trade. It's gonna be annoying, man. I already know this card's gonna be annoying. Yeah, but the issue, it's still like a weak Blessing of Kings, you know, a weak elixir, right? So it's not like, power for power, it's not as good, but it can be very annoying. So I've got some ideas for it. Return any spells you cast on this minion to your hand. So this is a good card for extra hands, right? You make it a 4 mana 2/4, right? Which isn't good. It's a Gnomish Inventor. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a Gnomish Inventor in a sense. When it dies, it gives you another extra arms, right? But it's gonna be hard to consistently use. You're not gonna use Topsy-Turvy on it in a lot of cases. You're not, and really the only yeah, you might replicate it, right? Like, I guess it's a 6 mana 5/5, right? That's not horrible. That gives you another copy, right? The problem with this card is you have to have synergy for it. But I think if you do have synergy for it, it's gonna be pretty good. But the fact that the baseline is so bad, a 0/2 with no real upside, is kind of the issue, right? Like, if you don't have any synergy for it, it's just a dead card in your deck, right? You draw this late game, and you're like, what am I doing with this? Nothing. So, but if you do have synergy, then you can do some effects with this. But the baseline is just so bad. A 1 mana 0/2 is not gonna do anything for you. That's the biggest issue with the card. Reckless Experimenter. This card's interesting, right? So minions. This seems like a good constructed card. I don't know in Arena, right? Because killing your Death Rattle minions doesn't seem that good in a lot of cases, unless you've got like really good Death Rattle minions. Like, you have Cube, or you've got I guess Loot Hoarder, right? It's a 0 mana draw one. You know, things like that. But the thing is, like, the baseline stats are good, right? So it's a 5 mana 4/6. That's playable. Like, you're not crying. And then there's probably okay. Not too bad. I mean, seems like an okay card. Not not horrible, but not like you have to have a lot of synergy. But since its style line is pretty good, it's probably gonna be a above average card. So just a 5-mana 4/6. But if you have some kind of weird death rattle synergy, it gets better. But it's a 5-mana 4/6, which isn't bad. So I don't hate it. I'm not too bad with that. Next we have Powered Replicate. So it's a 5-mana 5/5, right? Like if you just look at it base, and then it opens up death rattle synergies and things like that. And I like a card like this, right? Like one of my favorite cards in Priest is the 3-mana 2/3 that summons a 1/1 copy of a minion. Getting a 5/5 copy of a minion, it's kind of the same thing. So I feel like I'll be using this card a lot. And a 5-mana 5/5 isn't the worst thing, right? And you can copy Divine Shield, you can copy Death Rattles. It seems pretty good. Only problems you have to copy something. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the 1.5 rating. I think you can definitely make this card so obnoxiously powerful. If you hit a Oracle, right? That's annoying as hell. you hit anything with Divine Shield, you know, like a Basilisk or anything. You hit anything with Taunt, and there's a lot of ways to make this card really annoying. I what I'm thinking, like the first thing that comes to my head, I don't want to mention, but I'll mention. You can Course Razor and then hit this Replicate onto. It's gonna be pretty annoying. I think this card is pretty good. Zerg's Killing Gallery. I'm not impressed. It's 9 mana. I'm not impressed. It's 9 mana, summon 7 1/1s. I'm not impressed, to be honest. I don't think it's that good. You'd really have to have a deck full of Death Rattles or Yaceras or Lich Kings or something ridiculous, but I think in general it's not gonna do much for you. It's like Squashing without the heal, and then it still gets blown away by any AoE. Yeah, I'm not impressed at this at all. I don't think this card's going to see that much play. I think people will pick it up because it's new, like, oh, it's a new card, I'll try it out, and then it doesn't do anything the first time they play it. They're like, oh, we'll try again, and then it doesn't do anything the second time they play it, and they're like, yeah, this card isn't good. So I'm not impressed by this card. Don't think it's going to be super good. Master Cloner, if you cast any spells on this minion, resummon it. This card seems annoying if you have synergy, right? If you have any synergy, you're gonna be like, oh god. Oh man, yeah, you power shield this thing and you're annoyed, right? It's a 5/7 for 7, which isn't that bad, and then it resummons itself after it dies. Or you put extra hands on this, it's a 7/7, right? And then when it dies, you get another 7/7. I mean, you get another 5/5, but you have the extra copy. Then you make another 7/7. That sounds so annoying to deal with. Yeah, it does sound annoying to deal with. I think this card's gonna be good. Probably good. Very good. If you have synergy, it's gonna be good. If you don't have synergy, it's gonna be a 6-mana 5/5, which isn't good. But the fact that there's a lot of easy ways to trigger it, you can even put the this this 0 cost card on it, right? So this is like 0 cost summon a 5/5. It's not bad. Not the worst thing in the world. So seems like there's some benefits to it. So I don't hate this card. I think it's gonna be okay, right? I mean, even if Karn's better, Karn is still really damn good, right? So even if this is like a worse Karn, that's still really damn good. Like, so I think this card's gonna be good, right? The only drawback, if you have nothing, you have no synergy for this, and you just play it and it dies, and you're like, well, that was a 6 drop that dies for no reason, So, but all in all, I think they got a fair fairish. Not super impressed. I'd say their best card is probably the medic, right? And the replicate, and the medic, and then their worst card is probably like the cloning device and the topsy turvy. Like nothing super crazy, but they've got some good stuff if you have synergy for it. The problem with all of their priest cards is they need synergy, right? So you're not gonna get it every time, but they can high roll. They can definitely high roll, but you're not gonna get it every time, right? Like if you get the synergy, then it's good to go. But if you don't, then it's not good for them. Yeah. What's next? Rogue cards. Lab Recruiter. Shuffle 3 copies of a friendly minion in your deck. So it's a 2-mana 3/2, which is good. And then you can shuffle 3 copies of a friendly minion. So you'll play this on 2 as a 3/2. And then it has upside. So it's a good 2-drop with upside. But shuffling 3 copies of a friendly minion isn't like that great. Right? It's like the Baleful guy, the 2-mana 2/2 with a similar effect. And that card wasn't that great, but it is playable on curve, so it seems good. Like just fair. Were there any ratings of 5? No. I don't. Unplayable means unplayable. There's been a lot of 4s and 4.5s, but no 5 so far. It's basically a card that's like maybe in Rogue, right? I could see that. Give a friendly minion +4 attack, so it's a Cold Blood on the body, on a 5-cost body. So it's a 4-mana 4/4 with Cold Blood, with combo. It's also a combo, yeah. So it's like turn 6. We have to use this. I don't know. It doesn't seem that good. Yeah, it doesn't seem that good. Like yeah, I'm not super impressed by this. I guess you buff, but you can. I'm not an aggressive player, right? So I'm not really looking to burn people down, right? But maybe aggressive players will find like a very powerful use case from it. But I'm not super impressed by this card. I think I'm just gonna give it an average cost rating. Just a baseline card. So 3 mana, add 2 random death rattle cards to your hand. I think this card is probably 3.5 as well. There's a lot of bad death rattles. there's a lot of bad death rattles, and there are some decent death rattles, but I wouldn't say there's that many like OP death rattle cards. And it costs 3 mana. 3 mana, draw 2, lol. There's a 4 mana draw now. Oh man, no, it doesn't seem that powerful to me. I mean I see people using it right as like some kind of pseudo arcane intellect, but arcane intellect I would probably rate 3.5 as well, to be honest. I'm not a fan of that card, so I'm not super big on a card like this. Bright Nose Crawler, Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 ooze with Poisonous and Rush. So when it dies, it summons a murderer, an absolute monster of a beast of an ooze. Seems okay, right? It's a 4-drop. It's a 2/4 with a decent Death Rattle. If you can trigger it, you know, effectively, then you can definitely 2-for-1. Seems fairly powerful. There's also ways to trigger death rattles with Rogue, so you can find a way to trigger it instantly, right? You play with the weapon and you can kill something for free. Seems not bad, I would say. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. I think I would give it a 2. I think the fact that you can imagine you use that death rattle as an assassinate, right? Like you assassinate something, like that's the potential upside, right? Like you're playing an assassinate um for 4, right? Plus you get a 2/4 body. So the upside is very high, I would say, if you can use it properly. It's just hard to use properly, right? People will kill it and kill the 1/1 as well on the same turn. And other than that, it seems okay. So it has really good upside, but in general, it's going to be hard to use, and things being hard to use makes it worse. Sadly, most people are not going to, use it super efficiently. Pogo Hopper, it's a 2-mana 1/1. It's a 2-mana 1/1. Oh man. I'm gonna say this is quite bad. I'm gonna say because you're in a lot of decks. People are gonna pick this card. They're like, I'll just pick all the Pogo Hoppers that I see, and they pick this card first pick. Yes, and then they're never going to draw another one, and then they're gonna be like, why did I pick this card? Oh man, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan, man. It's not good. It's not unplayable. I will say, if you get 3 of these early, and then you get Shadow Step, and then you get the other 2 cards guy, like, you can do it. You can be the one that will have the trolling club. But in general, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good in general. Don't expect consistency with this card, but you can expect memes and fun times if you are that type of player. Let's go. So this is it's a 3-mana 3/2, so it's a fiery war axe, but it has a death rattle. Fiery war axe used to be so good. Now every weapon is like just better than it. It feels bad, but it's still a good weapon, to be honest. But it's not broken anymore. So it triggers death rattles, right? So the obvious thing is it triggers this crawler guy, and you get a free assassinate. That's the only death rattle I think in the expansion for Rogue. So you can trigger cube, right? I mean, you might look at more death rattle synergy with Rogue because of this, so it might allow things like that. Maybe Spellstone gets better as well, things like that. So its baseline stats isn't unplayable. 3-mana 3/2, I'd play it. Plus it has some upside potentially, so seems pretty good, pretty great. Shadow Blade might be better in a lot of situations, but this could also be better than Shadow Blade in a lot of situations. So seems like a good card. Like, don't mind picking this up at all. Academic Espionage. Shuffle 10 cards into your opponent's class into your deck. They cost 1. I don't know what to think about this card, man. Yeah, like, I don't know what to think about this card. It's very inconsistent, I would say. I don't know. It's very inconsistent, right? That's the issue I have with this card. It's very inconsistent. I'm sure it's gonna be fun. Like, it's like a crappier Explorer Ungoro or something, right? I don't know. It's gonna be, people are gonna play this on curve and then win. Oh man, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of cards that are so, like, the power level of random cards have to be so high, and this is like, it's almost there, right? Like where you get like a UI, you get like a Flame Strike for 1, right? You get something insane, but A lot of times that's not going to be the case, right? And that's the issue, right? A lot of times it's not going to be the case, right? There are some games you're going to lose to this, right? It's like a deck of wonders. Ah, that's a good way to say it. It's like a deck of wonders, and I hate that card. Okay, okay. There we go. But the thing is with deck of wonders, it's random. Where you have no control. Imagine you get steed, right? With deck of wonders, they can steed your enemy. If you get a steed, you're not gonna steed the enemy. You're gonna steed your own minion. So it's better than deck of wonders. Yeah. I'm not gonna give this the satisfaction of being average. It's gonna be worse than average, I would say. But you're gonna lose to this. But a lot of games you're gonna play this and then it's gonna do nothing, or it's gonna be bad, and then you're gonna like, why did I draft this? So you just have to be aware of this being bad or this being good. So you be aware of this. It can be bad, it can be good, but seems worse than average in general. Necrotic Vow. This card it only costs 5 because of preparation. I don't think it's an arena card. Best case scenario, the problem, yeah, I mean, like imagine you play Crawler, right? And then you play Necrotic Vow, right? That's 2 assassinates for 5 mana. That's not horrible, honestly. I don't think this card is as bad as people think. It is worse, but in arena, like, synergies like that is all you need. Like, but that's like optimal situation, I would say. I don't think it's gonna be great. Yeah. What else is really good for death rattles? I could see this being like a draw too, which is horrible. I could see this being like on cube, right? But you're not gonna get cube every time. I mean, I guess you could hit the egg, right? So you could get 2 5/5s for 5. I think people are going to make it work. I don't think it's as bad as people think. But it's not going to be good. But I don't think it's as bad as people think. I think people will find a way to make it work in arena, but it's going to be inconsistent. That's probably the problem. It's going to be inconsistent, right? Yeah. The problem, the issue is the inconsistency with this card. Where if you're drawing this later on when you've already used your death rattle, you're like, ah, lol, this is useless. Yeah, that's the issue with the card. It's just the inconsistency. I could see it high rolling, but the problem is that it's just going to be inconsistent in arena, and you don't want that. So I'm going to give it a 4. Myra's Unstable Element. Go straight to fatigue. Do not pass go. Do not collect 200. I mean, I guess collect 200 cards, but you know, I don't think you're gonna win. This might be unplayable. Yeah, cause there's too many AoEs in the arena right now. Yeah, this might be the first 5-cost card. Like, you don't want this. You draw your deck, right? So you're like, imagine you play this on turn 10, right? And you draw like 7 cards, and then you're at fatigue, right? And then you play you hear like, I have all the resources. You play your hand out, and then they'll just like flame strike you, and you're like, huh, I'm dead. I don't like it, man. I don't like this card at all. I think this card isn't good. But you're not going to see it that much in arena because it's a legendary and people are going to pick other cards. So you'll be, if I see this card, I'll be like, lol, he picked it. I hope he knows what he's doing. So I'm not a fan of it. And then Myra, I like this card. This card I think is better than people think. Discover Death Rattle minion also gain its Death Rattle. So it's not a curve minion. I mean, unless you're, I mean, you might play on curve, right? But the benefit of this card is it's a 5-mana draw card and then gain value from the card as well, right? So if you hit the You hit a high costing minion, right? Like a Threshodon, right? That's pretty good, right? And then you get a Threshodon as well. 5 mana get a Threshodon. You know, it's gonna be a good card. I think this card is pretty damn good in Arena. I'm considering giving it a 1.5, but I could also just leave it as 1. I think as long as you use this like turn 8, it's good. Turn 7 even, it's good. Like you just have to use it like when you're not going to die. But like people draw all the time, right? This is like drawing, but you get a minion on the board. I think it's gonna be really good. So you just don't curve it out unless you're gonna hit a worm or you're gonna hit a something silly. But if you just play it later on in the game when you can afford to detempo a little bit just to get value, it's going to be really good. So I really like a card like this. I think that's the last card, yeah. I think Shaman's... I don't think Shaman's got like anything premium, to be honest. I think like the legendary being one of their best cards, that's not a good sign. Like... You're rarely gonna see this card, so it doesn't like improve the quality of the overall rogue class. Val's not that great, This is okay. This is not great. This is okay. This is probably like their best card, honestly. And then not that great, not that great for me. And then this is just a regular 2-drop. So I feel like maybe this is like the worst class in terms of expansion level quality stuff, but did they get good stuff in Witchwood? I don't remember what they got for Witchwood stuff, but I'm not super impressed by the rogue cards. Not level 4, but it's I like looking at their neutral cards and seeing like their common cards and seeing like the quality of the common. So this is okay, this is okay, this is okay, right? But in terms of like the competition, it's not super good. So I'm not super impressed by the rogue cards. Maybe with the rest, rogue has always been a good class in Arena, so I don't really think this is going to affect it that much, right? They still have sap, they still have Val Spines, right? But they didn't get like some broken stuff like Paladins did for Arena, so I'm not super impressed. What's next? Shaman cards. So let's just get into it. Menacing Nimbus. I like this card. This is my type of card. It's a 2-mana 2/2 elemental synergy. Gives you cards playable on 2. Instant effect, right? So you don't have to death rattle it, right? So it's not like a Loot Hoarder where you play it and you can't use the elemental immediately. You get the immediate elemental. It's also random elemental, so you can hit Radiant Elemental and just win the game. That doesn't make sense to me, honestly, but I don't care. This seems like a great card to me. This is my type of card. Did I say 10? I meant 1. Just my type of card. I really like it. You know, this is the type of card I play. Like this, like if you're a tempo player, it's not like premium, right? It dies to 2/3s all the time. But for me, it's definitely my type of card. Very, very value oriented. Plus, it's playable on curve without like instantly losing the game. It's not, so I'll take it. Beaker Lightning. So it's a 0-mana deal 1 to all minions. At first when I first read this card, I thought it was deal 1 to enemies, but it's all minions, so it's a little worse. And it's overload too, which is significant. However, overload in itself might not be horrible. There's 2 cards in here that have overload synergy. I believe this one, and where is it? And there's another one, right? Maybe not. Alright, whatever. But at least there's one. So you can hero power and then roll a spell power totem and then instantly kill your own spell power totem. Sounds like a good strategy, right? However, it's not that bad because if you can roll like healing totem, that doesn't matter, right? Because you'll heal back. if you roll the taunt totem, at least you know you get a taunt, the 0/1. It's not the worst, right? But I think it's gonna be playable, but not OP enough. I think people are gonna combo it with like AoE effects, right? You'll maybe like, I don't know, like play this and then Primordial Drake, or play this and Lightning Storm and then play this as well, and things like that. But it doesn't seem like it's going to be game defining. You might pick it up, but the Overload 2 is kind of a high cost for this effect, but it's not impossible, and you can always play it every time. Like 0 mana, you can always play it, so it seems okay. I think people are gonna make it better than average, but I could see this being just like an average card as well. So, but I'm gonna give it the leeway of people are gonna find a way to make this better than I think. But I'm not seeing the OP-ness of the card right now, so yeah. Next card we have Elemental Reaction. So the 2-mana draw card. Draw 2 if you play an elemental. I think this is probably average. There's a 2-mana draw 1. Most people are gonna make it a 2-mana draw 2. 2-mana draw 2. Right. So it's like the rogue card, right, for 1 less. I don't think that rogue card's that good. Yeah. I'm gonna lower it. Yeah, I'm gonna lower it. I'm not a fan of draw without doing anything on the board. Its benefit is it's 2 mana instead of 3, right? But you have to have played an elemental, right? And there's already so much. I mean, how often are you gonna have like a complete elemental deck where you're like, I have this will trigger every turn? Not every single time, right? And the turns you might need to play this card, you might not have played an elemental. I'm not a fan of it. Like, you guys can do whatever you want. You can say it's better than 3. I don't think so. Cause look, you're like on turn 5, right? You're not gonna play this. Like, you're gonna play something else, right? You're gonna be playing this on turn like 8 or 9, right? And when you need a draw, right, you may have not played an elemental, right? When you're looking for something, you may have not played an elemental, right? So it's got that inconsistency with it, and I just don't like cards that have inconsistencies like this. And drawing a card or drawing 2 cards for 2 mana is okay, but we've seen it in the Mage spell, the 2 mana draw 2, draw 3, up to 3, draw 2, right? It's good, but the inconsistencies make it worse, and I'm not a super big fan of draw cards. If you're like a low elemental deck, like it can be good, but I don't see it being super good every time you pick it up, right? Like, I'm not a fan. Eureka, summon a copy of a random minion in your hand. I think this is gonna be hard to play. Especially like 6 mana. This seems like a constructor card. Yeah, this seems like a constructor card to me. So 6 mana, you get a copy of a card. Like, sure, you can get a 6 mana Lich King, right? But that's like, it's gonna like 50% chance, right? You get a 6 mana 8 drop or a 6 mana 9 drop. Right, like that's not that high, right? Like, if you hit like your 2 drop with this, like, that's like losing the game in a lot of matchups. So the inconsistency of this card, I'm not a fan. Sure, you can high roll, but if it's either high roll or lose the game, I'm not really going to do that kind of thing. Am I gonna review neutral cards? I don't know. We're gonna see. Like, I'll see how I feel after we do this, because this does take a long time, right? I don't know how long this stream has been going, right? But it does take a long time to review all the cards. Volt, Voltanic, Voltec, Voltec Burst. Um, I like this card, honestly. I like this card. There's a lot of good cards that have synergy with dying. Cauldron, Call Master, the Spirit Echoes, that kind of thing. And it's 1 mana. Like you can find a way to use this. It works with Primal, the Flame Tongue totems. It works with Direwolf. Voltaic. Voltaic, thanks. Sounds, I appreciate that. So it seems pretty good, right? 2 mana, deal 2 with upside with a lot of cards. Alright, so I kinda like this card. I think this is one of the better cards. I'll give it 1.5. I really think that people are gonna make this card really annoying, and there's a lot of synergy with it, so you'll probably be seeing this card fairly often, just to remove things or to synergize with Flame Tongues or Dire Wolves or Stormwind Champions, things like that. So it seems like a good card to me. Stormcaster, draw a card, draw a spell from your deck that costs 5 or more. This is going to be hard because there's not that many big Warlock, big Shaman spells. There's Volcano, there's Bloodlust, there's Eureka, there's something else that I'm not considering, right? I think there's like 4 or 5. Right? So your opponent's gonna know what you're gonna, your opponent's gonna like, okay, so he has a Volcano, right? So I'll play around that. Okay, so he has what's it called? A Bloodlust, right? This card is still good. I think this card is still pretty damn good. Like it's an elemental, and then it's better than Gnomish. A 3/4, right? Draw Volcano, sure. Right. The only problem is if you don't have any 5 costing spells in your deck, right? Oh, the Spellstone as well, right? So I think it's pretty good, right? Like it's not Yeti, but you get a card out of it, and the stat line isn't like instantly lose the game stat line. It's like, okay, sure, and if you're drawing Volcanoes, right, it doesn't matter what the stat line is. You're just gonna blow up the board anyways. So it seems like a good card if you have synergy for it. Like, so I don't mind this card at all. Thunderhead. This card seems pretty good. I think this is probably one of their better cards. Stat line is fantastic. A 4-mana 3/5. Plus, it has the upside is also insane. Summon 2 1/1s with Rush. That's insane. Like, this card is disgusting. In my opinion, Thunderhead. You're gonna be seeing a lot of this in Arena, and it has a nice after. It's not like Violet Teacher where Violet Teacher summons the 1/1 and then it's gonna blow. It's gonna blow up immediately, right? So you'd use it with the Bickered Lightning, right? With Violet Teacher, it just blows up the 1/1. With this one after, right? So it's kind of like the Pyromancer. So after you blow up the board, then you get those 2 1/1s. So I like this. I like this card. So it seems pretty nice. Patch 12.0 is live. That's good to hear. So this seems like a very nice card. I do not mind it. Alright, next card we've got Omega Mind. So it's a 2-mana 2/3, right, which makes it average. And then if you have 10 mana, this is your lifesteal. Your cards have lifesteal. This card is okay, right? Like you need 2 cards to synergize with it, and I think a lot of times this is going to be a 2-mana 2/3. I'm going to give it a 2.5 here. I don't think it's going to be game changing. Right, lifesteal is okay, but it's not like the priest one where you get the 10 mana immediately. I'm good to go. I don't have to do anything else, right? So you have to play this, and then you have to play a spell as well, right? So you can Volcano, sure, right? You can Lightning Storm, sure, and you can maybe heal more than 10. Right, but it costs synergy. You have to have synergy with it, which is annoying. So I'm not super sold on it, but it's not it's not a bad card, right? It's a 2 mana 2/3, but it costs. It might be hard to use, and that's why it's slightly better than average. Next card we've got Electro Storm Surge. Your next spell this turn casts twice. This card seems really good. It's an elemental. It's got and it's got really easy synergy, and it's a 3 mana 3/3. So even if you don't play a spell, I mean, if you don't play a spell with this, I'm like, why even draft this, man? What are you doing? But you can basically people are just gonna double Lightning Storm, right? Like, and just clear the board. That's what they're just gonna do, right? They're just gonna play this and double Lightning Storm you, or they're gonna play this and double Bloodlust you, right? And you're gonna die out of nowhere, right? You're gonna die out of nowhere with this card. I guarantee you, like 10 win decks you're going to lose to, because they're just gonna play this and Bloodlust you, and you're like, but he has 2 minions on the board. his board was just totems, 3 totems. How did I die? Well, you know, you're at 18 life and you have 3 totems on the board, you're dead. You know, it's so. Does this overload twice? I don't know if it overloads twice, but I think this card is probably going to be obnoxious as hell. Probably one of their strongest cards. So just be scared, like, of high win Shaman decks that do nothing, that looks like they do nothing, and then you're like, what the hell? I just lost because they have 3 totems on the board. It's just gonna be disgusting, I think. Yeah, so yeah, be worried about Shamans this expansion. And then they're can I have link permit? You can already post links, don't worry. Just be careful. So Stormbringer, transform your minions into random legendary minions. This seems okay. This seems okay because of the high roll potential of this, right? You just basically it's you're gonna transform your totems, right, into legendary minions. So the problem is, like, legendary minions are so swingy, right? You can get like really good cards, really bad ones, but you're like, all you need is one really good one, right? And you're good to go. Like, just one hit is insane, right? If you hit 2 good legendaries, you're like, time to lose. Oh man. So but the problem is that it's 7 mana, right? And I don't think people are gonna let Shamans have anything on the board. It's gonna be like Paladins. Don't let them have anything on the board, because they will do stuff with it. So I think like, after a while, people are gonna learn not to give Shamans anything, and then it's gonna not be as good. But you can definitely do some stuff with this. So yeah. I think it's gonna be good, like, at the very beginning, right? And then people are gonna learn, and then it's gonna get worse, and then people are gonna forget, and then it's gonna get better again. But yeah, it seems okay. And those seem to be all the Shaman cards. Shamans, they got a pretty good expansion, honestly. I think their worst card's Eureka. I think their worst card's Eureka. But other than that, their cards are pretty good. Like, this is good, this is good, this is good, this is whatever. This is playable. It's not good, but it's playable. This is playable, and then this one's pretty nuts. So I think they got a fairly powerful expansion, all things considered, I would say. Kind of on par with the Paladins. So good for Shamans. I think Shamans could use a bit of a buff in Arena. Yeah, I think Shamans could use a bit of a buff in Arena, so I don't mind this. Warlock cards, I don't know why. Currently, right now, Warlock's #1, but that might change with the new patch, so we never know. Each player transforms a random minion in their hand into a demon. I'm not a fan with project cards. 2 mana, transform a minion into your hand into a demon. Like, it seems like a constructor card. Yeah, I don't like this card. I don't like this card at all. Yeah, 2 mana. transform a minion into your like. Imagine your opponent doesn't have a minion, right? So it's just for you. 2 mana, transform a random minion into your hand into a demon. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't like this card. So I'm not. I don't think it's pretty good. Yeah, in constructed, we're not doing constructed talks, but in constructed, I can see why people would play this to kind of ruin combo cards. But in arena, you're not. What combos does your opponent have? Nothing. A lot of times, like you're not ruining anyone. You might just give them a Void Lord, and then you're like, 2 mana, give your opponent a Void Lord. Give yourself a Void Lord. That still sucks. Oh man, I don't like it. I don't think it's good. 3 mana 2/2. This is very reminiscent of the Trench card, right? I gave the Trench card average stats. However, it's a demon synergy, but there was Trench synergy too. But it's just a 2 mana 2/2. However, it is summon a copy. Imagine if Shudderwalk got this next. Oh man. It seems whatever. Honestly, there is some demon synergy with the Void Analyst and stuff like that. But other than that, it's not premium. I think it's just gonna be an average card. You play it on 3, whatever. No one cares. Oh man. Spirit Bomb, deal 4 damage to a minion and to your hero. This card's kind of okay, but also dealing 4 damage to your hero is like, that's a lot. That's a lot, you know, like that's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. Guys, like you run 2 copies of this, you start the game at 22. I don't know. That's a lot, and yeah, that's a lot of damage, guys. I don't think it's horrible in terms of like you can kill like a 4-drop, right, for 2 mana. But that's a lot of damage. So the fact that in arena you're not going to get spellstones every deck, and if you get a spellstone, it's salvageable, right? But in a lot of cases, you're not gonna run enough heal where you're really happy to do this. There's gonna be games where your hand is gonna be like Flame Imp, Spirit Bomb, Hellfire, and you're at 10 life, and you're like, oh, I don't like this. One mana make it playable, good enough to play but not broken. If it was 1 mana, I think this card would probably be insane. In a sense where it's like a Spirit Fire with no drawback, right? It's like a Soul Fire, where instead of losing a card, you take 4 damage. That's insane. Like, I think 1 mana is too good. Where 2 mana is not. It's like constructed good, right? Where in arena it's still good, but it's a lot of damage in arena. That's a lot of damage in arena. You're basically taking quite a bit of damage. So I'm not super fan of it. Void Analyst, give all demons in your hand +1/+1. I'm gonna say this card's average. It's a 2 mana 3/3, right? And then you need demon synergy, and then even if you have demon synergy, it's very slow demon synergy, where this card has to die, and then you've got to play your minions with demon synergy. It might even be worse than 3. It might be below average, because it's a 2 mana 2/2 with not immediate upside, with slow upside. And what arena deck is gonna have 10 demons or 5 demons in your hand where it's not gonna happen. Yeah, this card's it's not super good. It's super slow, and it's not the type of slowness you're gonna synergize with. I know doubling Imp is like the best hit early, like, so you play this, you trade, and then you play 2 3/3s, right? That's the dream, right? But it's still slow as hell. Like you're not winning the game off of that play. You'd have to basically just make a deck around this, like and it's not good enough to make a deck around it, I would say. So I don't like the card too much. Another Soul Buster. Right, this is supposed to combo with the, I don't know, with hero powers. I don't know, right? You play this on even lock? I don't see it. I don't think it's gonna be that good, right? You tap and make a 5-mana 3/5 with no taunt. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this card. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this card. I'm gonna give it a 4. And yeah, I don't think it's gonna be very powerful because it's gonna be really slow. That's the issue. It's just gonna be really slow, and yeah, it's gonna be really slow. That's the problem. Like with Spirit Bomb, you make a 3-mana, a 5. It's a 5-mana 5/5 with Spirit Bomb. That's not that great. Like, I mean, it's good with Spirit Bomb, right? Because you get the Spirit Bomb effect, but it's not like you're not winning the game because on turn 5 you play the 5/5 and it's not winning the game effect. And a lot of times it's gonna be a 5-mana 3/5. In a lot of games, it's gonna be a 5-mana 3/5. Which isn't that good. Soul Infusion, give you the leftmost minion in your hand, +2/+2. So imagine you played this on a 2-drop. Turn 1 you play this, and then turn 2 you play a 2/3, or like a 4/4. That's pretty good. Not horrible, but the inconsistencies is probably the biggest issue. And the issue is the inconsistency of this card. So it's a 1-mana +2/+2, which is not horrible, but it's inconsistent. I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I think it's below average. I don't think that it's the inconsistency of the card is the crippling factor. You can hit double imp, right? Doubling imp, sure, good for you. You can hit a 1-drop or a 2-drop, good for you. Other than that, you're not doing much. You can top deck this card, and you're not doing anything, right? It's like an early game hand buff card, right? So it's like a hand buff, right? It's like the hand buff card, but just for 1 minion. And the hand buff card was hard to use. It's easier to use in Warlock, but it's not going to be very powerfully consistent. Where you're going to be like, if your leftmost card is like a Void Lord or like a Ogre or something, right? You're not going to get the value of this card early, right? That's the issue, right? You can't get the value of this card early in every game, and because of that, it's not going to be super powerful. But it's going to be good if you high roll. It's going to be good. Omega Agent, I already know this is a 1, right? Like, if you have 10 mana, summon 3 4/5s for 5. Who designed this? Oh man, is it like, what is like, how is that fair? Oh man, who designed this? Oh my god. If you have 10 mana, summon 3 4/5s. That's, yeah, how is that fair? that's not fair at all. You're just like, like, as soon as the Warlocks hit turn 10, you're scared as hell because you're like, oh my god, they're just gonna they're just gonna like this might be 0.5 level of annoying, right? Like, if the Warlock can make it to turn 10, with Spellstone has like requirements, like really hard to do requirements in Arena, where you can't really make 3 5/5s every single time. Where with this one, it's kind of inevitable to hit 10 mana. It's not like if you have 11 mana summon these. that's kind of hard to do, I would say. But 10 mana, like, it's gonna happen. People are gonna wait and then play it. play this, and it's gonna be disgusting. Yeah, imagine 2 of these at 10, right? That's gonna happen to people, right? And then you lose. You basically lose an arena. Like there's not a lot of AoE removal to deal with this, right? Summon copies of all demons. Thank God this is not a demon, right? Wouldn't that be? It'd be busted beyond belief, right? There's a lot of buff, and you can hit Soul Infusion with this, right? So this can be a 6/7, right? And then you just summon 3 6/7s, right? It's gonna be annoying. This card's disgusting. Electromancer. I don't think this card's very good. It's probably, I might hit unplayable. I mean, no, I'm gonna give it a 4.58, a 4.5, because you can hit Void Lord, right? I mean, yeah, you can hit Void Lord and stuff, but it's so slow and it's so inconsistent. It's so slow and so inconsistent that it's gonna be very hard to use, right? Because you can't even play a 5-drop and copy the 5-drop. You've got to copy a 4-drop, and there's not a lot of good 4-drop demons instantly. Like, I guess there's a 7/7 taunt, and that's about it, right? But it's gonna be hard to use. The issue is not the fact that you can summon good minions. The fact that it's inconsistent, that you're not going to get the good minions every time. Like, so it's going to be difficult. Solnarium. I already know this card is a 1. Draw 3 cards for 1, and then just play the cards you like. Alright, this card's really insane. This card was a arena only card possible at BlizzCon last year, I think. And they decided to reprint it as a legendary, and it seems really good. Just like being able to draw a ton of cards and make use of it. So it seems like fairly strong, fairly powerful. So seems good. And then Dr. Mortigan. So it's an 8-mana 5/5 that will summon a minion when it dies from your deck. Seems okay. Seems okay. Like, you can high roll, but you can low roll, and people are not going to kill this thing. So you're going to have to kill it. You can. Do you think this edition is bad? I think it's one of the worst. I don't know what that means, but you mean I don't know what you mean. You're gonna have to explain yourself. I'm not a fan of this card. I think it's I don't think it's either gonna be like the thing with this card though is that it doesn't like go into fatigue, and it's gonna like keep summoning itself. I mean, you're gonna keep playing this. I don't think it's gonna be like good, but it's not gonna be horrible. I think it's gonna be somewhere around the ballpark of playable or not. So seems questionable. All right, so those are warlock cards. They've got a lot of whatever cards. Actually, now I'm looking at it, like their best card is the Omega card, and then maybe Solarium, but it's a legendary, so it doesn't really matter. Like besides the obvious broken Omega agent, the rest of the cards aren't super good. So I'm not feeling super happy about their expansion, right? Besides the Omega card, but we'll have to see. I'm not super impressed by their expansion cards. The only card, it's really the power level of the Omega card that's really bringing up the whole arena. rating, in my opinion. I'm not super impressed. The last card, last class warrior. Eternium Rover. I think this card's great. It's a 1 mana 1/3, which is playable. It's kind of like Armor Smith, but earlier on it's even better than Armor Smith. It's good card, yeah. It's a good card, honestly. What do you think about cards in this expansion? I think they're okay. Like, I think they're okay. I don't think they're super premium. But I think that's fine. Like, there's a lot of potential for brokenness in this expansion, especially in constructed, right? So I think they made a lot of constructed stuff, and then we're kind of having to use it in arena, which I don't care. It's fine to me. New cards and new cards. Whenever this minion takes damage, gain 2 armor. I think that's pretty good. Fairly, you'll see it. It's also a mech, and you can magnetize it. Each player equips a 2/3 weapon and gains 6 armor. I think this might be one of the better projects. I don't like any of the projects, but I think I like this the best. Even though I don't like it, I like it the best. It's the best of the worst, in my opinion. Getting a weapon can trigger weapon synergy, and then 6 armor. Right, if your opponent doesn't need 6 armor, then it doesn't affect them. But you getting 6 armor might be useful. They do get a weapon, right? So that's annoying, but like, how annoying is it, right? Like, they're not going to just hit your face for 6. They're gonna hold it while you can use yours. So, I think this card is slightly below average because you give your opponents a weapon and armor, but it's fine. It's not a horrible card. Yeah, you can remove Paladin weapons, but like that's a fringe case in arena. Like, that's very fringe. So it's a 2 mana draw card, give your minion rush. I think this card's okay. Drawing a card for 2 is always okay. And then giving your minion rush can be pretty good. Being able to trade effectively. So I don't hate this card. I think this card is going to be average. You might pick it up, but it's not gonna win your game. But you know, it's a draw. It's a cycle, and then you can do something with the other effects. I don't hate it. Omega Assembly. Discover a mech. If you have 10 mana crystals, keep all 3. I like this. You're not, like, unless you really need the mech or something to play, you're not gonna play it early. You're just gonna wait till 10 and draw 3 cards for 1 mana. Seems like a good deal. So if you can live till turn 10 as a warrior, which seems doable, right? You're gonna get a lot of value from this card, which is really nice. So seems like a fun balanced card. Not really. Like, on turn 10, you're gonna do some work with this card, so I don't mind it at all. Security Rover is whenever this minion takes damage, so even when it dies, summon a 2/3 mech with taunt. Kind of like a Hogger effect-ish, but better statted. I would say a 2/5 it's better than a 4/4, I would say, in terms of utilizing the effect. However, it's not persistent. I think it's better than average. I don't know if it's great, but I can see this card being super annoying, especially since it's mechs with taunt. I'm gonna give it a great stat line. I think you can definitely do something, right? The only weakness is like Boulder Fist Ogre, right? You're not gonna be happy that they drop a ogre into this and then you can't protect it. But there's magnetic effects. That's the problem, right? People are gonna magnetize this thing, and then you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I forgot they can do that. That's what you're gonna say. Oh yeah, I forgot they can do that. And then you're gonna see why it's annoying, right? Because they're gonna magnetize this thing, give it like a 1, like give it like 5 extra health, and then you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, and then you're gonna cry, and then we're all gonna die slowly. So Dinomatic. Deal 5 damage, randomly split among all minions extract first. When I looked at this, I was like, but then I thought about it, and I'm like, this thing's gonna kill Bone Drakes. That's what I just like. That's like, oh yeah, this thing is gonna kill Bone Drakes. That's what it's gonna do. It's just gonna kill Bone Drakes. People are gonna play Bone Drake, and then you're gonna play this. And then they're gonna be like, yeah, you know, you're just gonna play this when they only have 1 5 attack minion on the board, right? You just kill everything else, and then they have 1 5 attack minion or lower or whatever, and then you just play this, and this is gonna kill. It's just gonna kill that 1 minion, right? So you're just gonna use it to trade up, and I think with that in mind, it's actually really good. Like at first, I wasn't like super impressed by this, but the fact that you can just like one-shot 1 minion with this, that's like insane, and then have a 3/4 mech. That's really good. For 5 mana, I think this card's going to be really powerful. And you're going to see why after like people start playing with it and be like, oh yeah, it's like you play, so like you play your Bone Drake or whatever, or like you play your what's that 5 mana Stealth Taunt, and then they just play the Dinomatic and like your move. You know, it's gonna trade 2 for 1 a lot of times, so I think that's gonna make it a really good card. Only weakness is if they don't have mechs, but that's not in Arena. That's not super common where they don't actually have mechs. Like where they just have your whole deck. Their whole deck is mechs. That's not gonna happen. And then Nullifier. So it's a 7 mana 3/8. That's not super good, but it has Magnetize. So you're gonna buff it on this or something, right? And then it's gonna be a 6/12 or something. That's insane. It's gonna be a 5/13. That's not fair. It's gonna be like a goddamn, what is this? 4/11 heal forever. I mean, if you can magnetize any minion, you're happy as hell. So that's the upside of this thing is actually pretty good, and you can play it on an empty board, and it's still going to be annoying. I think this card's probably better than you imagine. Like the fact that you can hit like some annoying mechs is just is what's gonna make it annoying. Like if you hit this or you hit this other thing, like that's really annoying, and that's the fact that it can't be targeted by spells and hero powers is just gonna be hard to kill, very hard to get rid of, and then you're just gonna be laughing because they can't do anything. Super Collider. I looked at this card, I wasn't impressed. People say it's better than I think, and I'm still not impressed. Honestly, I'm not impressed by this card. I think this card's gonna be like a 3.5 maybe. It's gonna, people are gonna, I mean, I don't know, I'll give it a 3, but I'm not thinking this card's gonna like shoot up to 1 like amazing quality after you play with it. But it doesn't, I mean, it looks okay, but it doesn't look like it's like a god tier card. However, it's in a god tier bucket, which is funny. Like it's next to like a lot of really good cards. So I mean, I don't know if you'll be seeing it super often, but people will try it and then we'll get to see how it feels. But I don't really know how good it is. I'm giving it some leeway, making it average, but I personally rate it lower than 3, but I'm gonna give it some leeway. I don't think it's gonna be super powerful. I don't think we're gonna get mad geniuses, right? All heroes are like 1s, like in Arena, because they're so strong. But yeah, and then the boom ship. Summon 3 random minions from your hand, give them rush. That seems really good. That seems really powerful. That seems like a broken card. Summon 3 5-cost minions, give them rush. Yeah, I will take this. I will boom the ship out of everyone. I think this card is pretty powerful, just because you cheat out so much value for one card. Like it's you're cheating out so much value for one card, right? And it's easy to trigger with the 1 mana card, right? So you can get like 3 mechs and then just cheat out the mechs immediately, right? It seems really good. So I just think like if you're playing a taunt warrior in arena, or like big warrior in arena, you can easily trigger this. So I think it's good. It's good if control ever comes back. Well, you must be new here because I just play control everything. So for me, I will be able to use this. I don't know if you play a lot of control, so but I play a ton of control, so I this will pretty much always trigger for me. If I'm playing the type of deck that can trigger this, like so control or taunt warrior. So yeah, those are the warrior cards. I think the warrior got pretty good cards, honestly. This is good, this is okay, this is okay, this is good, this is okay to good, this is good, or like probably one of their best cards. And this is fair, this is like kind of weak, and then this is pretty insane. So I would say they got one of the best sets too. I'm tempted to give this 1.5, but I'm gonna give this a 2 as well. So I'd say Paladin, Shaman, Warrior got the best stuff, and then Mage and Druid got fairly good stuff, and then Hunter and Priest got kind of sadder stuff, and then Rogue kind of got the worst batch of cards. So this took kind of a long time to do. Let me look at the uptime. I don't know, but so 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I could just do the neutrals tomorrow or the day after or whenever, right? And then we'll just before neutrals, would you talk about patch 12? No, that's not the uptent of this video. I think probably the video will probably be cut at this point. We could do neutrals tomorrow.